Good morning. Myself, Dr. Santosh. Currently, I am working as assistant professor in SR University. So, I have also industry experience of 5 years in one of the MNC company in India. So, during that time, I worked in the material management section. So, where we used to do uh, get the material requirement from PPC. So, the PPC get the order list from contract management, so from the customer. So based upon the requirement from the customers, and we used to get the list of materials that we call in technical term bill of materials. So the bill of material list we received from PPC. So the PPC segregate the projects list, and the list will send to technical procurement departments. So how it will work, we'll see in quickly, so that we can understand briefly about MRP. Why MRP means material requirement planning is essential in an industry. Okay, so generally any materials or any products the customer they want, so the order will go like this. Example, the customer required some 20 machines in particular time, that we call as lead time. Maybe they ask 6 months, or they ask the lead time to deliver the quantity with the required quality within 6 months, maybe 10 machines, something like that. So they give the order to the factory. Assume the factory, the first input people get the order, that is your contract management. But before that, there is some team will be there. They will take care all this uh, commercial terms and all those things. But actually, when executing team will be in factory. So in factory, the communicating department like contract management, so they take the complete responsibility to uh, get the information from the factory. Assume that this is entire thing is a factory, and contract management is one of the department, and it will give uh, proper information, the status of the product, what how, whether it is uh, partially completed or completely it is ready to dispatch. Also all the information will be received and delivered to the customer through contract management. Okay. So once we receive the contract management information, like how many kinds of machines, so the immediately they will contact to the planning department, that is PPC. Also we call this production planning control department. Okay, so what that does, the PPC, it's act as a uh, complete responsible for designing the production planning and execution of all the projects in inside the factory. And inside the factory means we have uh, maybe a raw material department and warehouse, and we have inspection department, we have fabrication, we have machining, and so on. So PPC will coordinate with all the departments and will collect the information and send the uh, proper information to contract management team. So this is how the company will works. So in that, the major part in company will goes to this, that is your warehouse. So where the material everything comes from the suppliers and will store here, and but how much we need to store in the stock, we need to keep in the stock according to the customer requirement, everything will be monitoring by PPC always. Okay, so now we quickly will go to the MRP planning. Okay, material requirements planning. Okay. So quickly we'll see this material requirements planning. It's a computerized inventory control and production planning system. You see, every industry, most of the industries nowadays, like completely automized or semi-automized, automation is already there. So, but if you see example of any motor, almost 1500 to 1700 parts will be there. So after manufacturing any product, assume that as small motor. Okay, so to maintain these many kinds of uh, materials and different washers, bolts, sensors, it is very difficult for them to keep in a note in physical notes. So initially the raw material manager maybe used to keep a logbook, so where they can mention the raw material list, like a description of the material, and if the code is there, anything, maybe a code and quantity and so on. So during these days, it is very difficult to track the how many materials are inside the factory and whether physically available or not. Day-to-day basis is very difficult to verify in physically. So then Excel come to picture. Then the Excel, whatever the material coming inside, then similar way they used to make Excel sheets. The raw material comes inside, the people used to enter the data in Excel. If somebody want, they used to send information to the particular department, then they will verify how much inventory is there in particular months. Okay. So over the period of time, the ERP came into picture, like where I saw this ERP, where I experienced, that is SAP. So where the system, like it is maybe a advanced kind of thing, Excel, like, so there is a complete factory, they use one software, maybe SAP. So example, this is there are maybe starting from the contract management, then PPC, then warehouse, and then fabrication, and so on. There are many departments. So it is very difficult for warehouse in charge to send and monitor day to day to these different departments through Excel. It's very difficult. Example, here I am uh, from final assembly. Okay, I want to see the, for packing I need some kind of bolts. Okay, so again if I want there, then I want to go again to this warehouse manager asking and get the status of the whether availability of bolts or not. It is very difficult for a final assembly guy and here a manager to tell always each and every part of quantity. So similarly, there are many departments. If they suddenly all will come into a person to know the status of particular material, it's very difficult. So from there, the problem arises. So there are advanced technologies and softwares. They giving very good solutions for this kind of issues, like where I experience SAP. Once the material comes to from supplier, that may be a finished goods or semi-finished goods. Directly it will go and verified in through warehouse department with the help of quality department. Then immediately it will get entered into one software. So this software having a small T codes and M codes. So like example, if there somebody wants to know the material of particular bolt and nut, there is a interface, like there you can see the material number or description, where you can type that particular code mm03. Okay, so immediately we can see that uh, what are the type of material available inside the factory, everything will get. So there you can give particular keywords so that we can see the bolt with 6 mm or bolt with 8 mm, something like that dia we can find out. And so similar way we can find of any sensor which is required, maybe a final assembly or some other department, easily we can trace out. So this is the advantage of SAP. So then next goes to the MPS, master schedule, which translate master schedule requirements for end items into time phase requirements for sub-assemblies, components and raw materials. As I said, so any order which comes to factory, maybe a one quantity of a motor. So first it will go to PPC, then PPC here segregate whether the material is needs to purchase outside or it can be done inside, like semi finished, then sent for subcontracting. So after that again they will deliver in the factory, or the complete part can be do for subcontracting. So it means since the company doesn't have all the facilities, so they give some of the part, maybe if you consider motor, they give for shaft machining or maybe a casting they do outside and they bring it to inside for machining. So this we called as subcontracting works. So this how the PPC will plan material requirement planning as per the requirement of the project. So what are the objectives of MRP? So MRP improve the customer service, and it also reduce inventory investment, and it also improve plant operating efficiency. It's because so from by seeing you can see that the customer ultimately he want the material in his factory as per that requirement. Okay, until unless the manufacturing company doesn't plan properly, so he won't get the material inside in time. So that's how this MRP will give the proper transparency. So when the material is required and what is the status of the current motor manufacturing or generator or some other product uh, project status. Okay, as I told briefly, like we can see the if you properly maintain this MRP, like if you apply this kind of JIT, like just in time methods. So we can bring the material whenever we require, not only bringing all the material at a time and keep the inventory. For example, I am telling there are set of parts are there in any machinery. Okay, so some of the parts we required at the early initial stage, like you can take Jan, you can take March, you can take maybe October, maybe December. This is the timeline of project execution stage. So example, if you want to manufacture, we required uh, 1 year status, 1 year schedule, or we call lead time. Okay, so some of the material we required only at the end of the stage, like maybe in December. So but the cost of the assembly parts around, maybe if you consider the motor, maybe 1 crore, and the sub-assembly parts, some spares like sensors and actuator, these kind of things are highly costly products, and if you bring in at December, okay, this may be cost around 20 lakhs. Okay, but instead of that, you bring the material in Jan. Okay, you understand that 20 lakhs with the interest rate and the inventory, it goes finally, can see the inventory carrying cost will go very high. So that's how this new methods arising still. The but popular technique we use just in time. The material whenever we require, you bring it and keep it in factory at least 10 or 15 days, or at least 1 month before, not like 11 months or 10 months before. That will increase ultimately inventory carrying cost. Okay, and as I told, it improve plant operating efficiencies. Example, as I told, the factory having only limited space sometimes, and there are some places we keep buffer, like these kind of places, to keep unavoidable excess stocks which we can't keep uh, in warehouse. So those things we keep here, especially rejected parts. Sometimes if you consider casting parts, we require patterns. Okay, so this space generally they used to keep for this, but sometimes some missioner got delayed some due to some issues, and they want to keep that in our factory in somewhere, but already in that place some of the uh, materials are lying or from the other departments. So during that time, so they also see whether the warehouse having some certain space to keep the holded machinery. So during that time, what how this just in time will work. So just in time, they will see whether the required material is requirement is there currently a month or not. Based on that, they keep the material, and otherwise they send back or they do reorder whenever they're required, so that they can take some space, so that they can keep the motors here, and that's how your remaining projects can be executed. That's how the overall operating efficiency of the factory will improve. So some of the assumptions it is required to define an MRP. So known deterministic demands. So demands are deterministic. If undeterministic, then it's very difficult to implement the MRP as per the planned orders. Then fixed and known production lead times. for example, to manufacture any motor generator, we required 6 to 8 months based upon this shaft size and height of the motor and capacity of the motors and generators. Based upon that, he has to plan the procurement engineers, the part raw material lead times, and infinite capacity. So when you are defining the production, if you think that the capacity is good of any factory, it should be well equipped facilities. Then material requirements planning. So this is how the flow chart of any MRP. So to execute MRP, we required 3 inputs. So one is a master production schedule, and another being product structure file and item master file. Okay, the master production schedule, it will gives the complete picture of the project. So as per the lead times, and the project stages, so that the PPC easily can plan. So various projects, this is the one example of one project, maybe X. So but in a factory there are number of projects, maybe Y, maybe Z, maybe so on. So as a MRP, as a PPC department, they have to execute similar kind of projects at a time. So they require individual MRP of this individual MRP can run many projects. So the MPS schedule is unique for individual project. Okay, so that they understand the requirement of need of a particular company, maybe a X customer or Y or Z customer. Then the product structure file, it is also very important for any MRP planning. And item master file, it is also important, as I told this slide about briefly in the previous session or slides. You can also see about this in my previous video. So here the item master file means, as I told, the number of materials required for manufacture of particular machine. So it's a list of material is requirement is mentioned in item master file, maybe a 2000 material or 10,000 material with the quantity and so on will be mentioned here. But whereas here product structure file, including the material numbers and quantity, there is a drawing files, everything will be mentioned here. As I told, if you type in example in SAP, if you type this type code with this, then you can see the complete information of any material, maybe in X project or Y project or Z project. But sometimes the material is common, like you take the plate, maybe 3mm plates, it's a common for many projects. So they what they do, they simply they define as material number like 1 5 6 7, some random numbers, but this random number is unique for this particular standard of material, like 3mm SS or 3mm iron, cast iron or something like that. So when you open this, copy the material number and put it in your SAP with this code, so we can see complete properties of that particular material, and with a drawing, and test has been done, quality test has been done on this particular metal, whether this SS material or cast iron material, everything can be verified from this. So these three is very important: planning, drawings from design, and material list. These, without this, MRP will not work. So once these three added to this MRP planning, so we can easily we can plan based upon the project and urgency requirement. So we can do material requirement planning. So once it is received uh, from once it is received material requirement planning to the department called PPC, then they started to, up to here the part will be in one department like PPC, and from here it will goes to the factory, like execution people. There are like technicians and engineers who see the drawings, and who understand the drawing and understand the urgent requirement of materials, which they have to start to do fabrication and all. So they received in terms of one um, document, that is planned order copies, we also call planned order releases. So it mentioned there this plan order releases, like it may be in this uh, different kind of documents. It is there in these three. So as I told, some materials they want to buy everything from outside, or purchase from outside market, and some part they have to do some subcontracting. Means they do manufacture inside, part partially, and they will send to subcontracting to other factories. So after that again they will bring back to the factory. Okay, so another kind, like they do uh, subcontracting completely outside. So this kind of segregation they do. That same thing you can see here. Purchasing outside, everything will be done by purchase orders. Like there is another department, purchase order, purchasing technical procurement team will be there. So they will take care of this purchasing entire list of materials, whether it's bolt or nut, sensor, actuator, or any kind of copper, all those things. Then goes to work orders. This work orders, like you receive the material for subcontracting, or you receive the material list for partially you have to do manufacture inside the factory and send back to for subcontracting and bring back to the factory. So this all details will be mentioned in work order. Another thing is rescheduling notices. This is very important. Sometimes the customer X, initially he want delivery in December, and due to delay or prepone, something like that, they may ask initially very quickly, or sometimes they told like they will tell they need some time to take the machinery from after fabrication. So in that case, so those kind of information has also mentioned here, rescheduling. So during that time, what a factory managers has to do, they will see the rescheduling notices, and they will quickly act which one they have to do fabrication or machining first, and which one they have to keep aside. Similarly, a purchaser also see rescheduling orders notices, and they'll try to stop the procurement of particular machinery uh, sub subparts or raw materials, or prepone the requirement if they want X mission, they want order to be preponed. Immediately they bring the material in, maybe through air or something like that. So this how the MRP planning will be execute. Then what next terms comes here is master production schedule. So as I said, so MPS is one of the three primary inputs in MRP. It states which end items are to be produced, when these are which end items are to be produced, and when these are needed, and in what quantity. So this is very important uh, thing I want to highlight. So some ex customer, initially the order they gave any company sometimes a 10 quantity. Okay. Due to non urgency, what they tell generally, so you deliver 5 quantity in one lot, and another 3 quantity another lot, 2 quantity another lot. So this is very important to understand any PPC engineer, like the company, it is based upon everything. There is terms like inventory and inventory carrying cost. Okay, so the PPC plan, generally they think that initial, based upon the initial order 10 quantity, the company they want immediately based upon order maybe December 2025. But the customer may send some kind of information or mail, please delay my order, maybe these 5 maybe you can deliver in December 25, this may be March 25, oh sorry 26, and this may be December 26. So this kind of situation, procurement, the PPC has to immediately act to in the factory, like they have to give the information to purchase team, and they have to give the information to factory, like those who are starting, like shop floor people especially. Otherwise the complete 10 will be manufactured inside the factory, and they have a less sufficient amount of space. Generally every company, they used to keep like 1/4 of the space for testing and keeping the customer inventory. So as you understand that there are not only X customer material, there are many customers products will be manufactured, and they have to manufacture, and they have to keep in test bed, and they have to test, and they have to dispatch. If the customer like X, they stop the order immediately for 5 lots, so what will happen, this YZ projects will come and hold here, they can't move to in keep the space in the inventory. So in that case, this PPC has to immediately act, and they have to uh, postpone the manufacturing of remaining these 5, and they can take the priority only 5. This is how the what quantity it is matter here. It is very important. The next thing is derives MRP process with a schedule of finished products. So we see that with small examples. Okay, so MPS, this is the schedule of various months, and weekly wise they have a plan, and in that they want to deliver the material according to the requirement. Maybe initially the ladder and back chair in the first week of April, and in May they want some other quantity in second week of May. They don't want a total quantity in at a time, but they want their own requirement in their premises, so that they will inform the people in the factory, so in MPS, like mass production schedule. So you can see that remaining order like desk chair, they want this quantity in some other time. So this is how the overall quantity can be fulfilled, but you can see the overall quantity here 670. They are not manufacturing and delivering or some all those things in here itself, like 120 and 400. What will happen? So the customer, they won't take this remaining of 3 weeks. They will simply keep idle. So that's how MPS is very important to any planning in the factory. When the material required, what the quantity, it is everything well defined in MPS file. So briefly, the product structure file consists of bill of material. We called in most of the factories, the common word is BOM. Every item is produced. The BOM is listed of all the raw materials, parts, sub-assemblies and assemblies are needed to produce a unit product. Okay. If you get the time, you please see the technical drawings of any products. Like even you get any if you purchase any mechanical product from Amazon or some e-commerce website, they also give charts, drawings with assemblies. There they can mention, like in the right side, here they give the complete drawings with the isometric drawings and so on. And here they mention like quantity, like number 1 maybe a bolt with specification and quantity, maybe a 10. Second, maybe a wood, some specification and quantity 5 with the dimension. So this complete detail of whatever the things they used in particular assembly, everything will be mentioned in this bill of material. Okay. For example, you can see here the simple clipboard pads. Okay. So where you can see a number of parts are disassembled parts are available here, but when you see the only the clipboard, this is the one component. Okay, but if you see this sub assemblies, sub materials, there are different kinds of like boards. There is press boards and top clip, and the back side the bottom clip and pivot and the spring and the rivets. Okay, this we generally this is the BOM of this particular product. The product tree. Okay, if you consider the same clipboard example, there are different levels of structure, product structure tree, we can say that. So if you, there is no when you see the clipboard, there is generally we consider the level 0. Okay, there is no next branches from that. But if you disintegrate the clipboard at level 1, that is the topmost part is the press board, then clip assembly, and big rivets. Okay, and you can see this 2 is the quantity of the uh, next level assembly part numbers. Again, if you disintegrate clip assembly level 2, then you can see top clip, bottom clip, pivot, and springs. This is how you can understand any product structure by verifying their levels and functionality and so on. Item master file. This item master file contains extensive amount of information on every item that produced order involved in the system. That includes the gross requirement, scheduled receipts, amount on hand, the lead times, the lot sizes, and more. Quickly we'll see about this thing, item master file. Uh, when generally this item master file will be there, you can see here. This is the one of the important third input for MRP. Okay, so to plan a proper requirement with to the particular month to assemble or assemble any motor or generators, so we required what is the gross requirement of that, and schedule receipts. Okay, how many materials are already received after invoicing? Like there are in-house there are material will receive, but the material will not get invoice or quality check until unless they received quality check, acceptance, and next invoicing. Like as per the commercial part, the invoice means received is material received is done or not, they verified by accounts and finance team, then they will keep post in warehouse. Okay, until unless that the factory cannot use this material without completion of this quality check and invoicing. Then after that we also see amount in hand. So this amount in hand means the material already got quality and invoicing checks, and this is ready to use. So generally we call this inventory. Then the lead times. So item master file also having the list of materials and with particular lead times. Example, 2 1 2 3 4, there is some particular bolt with this number required maybe within 1 month. Then the purchaser will immediately act and he will procure the materials to receive the material by at least 25th day, so that it will goes to quality check and invoicing, so that by 30th day the company will ready to use that. So all this lead time is very important for in factory. Then lot size. Generally some of the materials, example you take same bolt, the bolt cost around maximum 2 rupees to 20 or 50 rupees sometimes maximum. It is very difficult any supplier to manufacture particular quantity and particular specification only with lesser quantity and supply to particular Z factory from X to Y or Z. So because to manufacture they have to use some other facility, and for that if they don't have, they have to build the facility. After that they have to transport. If it is interstate, they have to pay some charges from other side, and in other both the side states, they have to pay transportation and clearances and all. So compared to this transportation and setup cost, this product cost is very less. So that's how this lot sizes are coming to picture. Until unless they don't have required lots number, they won't purchase sorry, they won't take the order, from customer. So this is how lot size is very important, and it is also important, so whether to procure those many materials and keep the inventory. Example, we required bolts of 20, but the lot size is 100. Okay, but as a procurement engineer or PPC has to verify whether this remaining 80 is going to use in the next projects. They have to verify, and then they can accept these lot sizes from the supplier. This is very important aspect, but this kind of lot sizes only available for a small uh, price quantity, like for small price materials. It won't be you can't see this kind of term in large, like a bearing or sensors, something like that. Then what is the MRP outputs? So MRP outputs are work orders, the orders released to the shop floor in-house production, and the purchase orders, order to be sent to suppliers, and the rescheduling notices, the revisions of due dates on order quantities or cancellation order. As I already explained, so once the MRP planned properly with the proper quantity, schedule, and so on, so the next it will goes to the purchasers, and then it will goes to the factory, whether it is semi-finished or finished goods. We have to send outside and bring it back to our factory after rework or something. And it is also um, well defined that in rescheduling notices, um, the particular projects to be preponed or postponed, all those things can be seen in the rescheduling notices, so that the company can take immediate action to improve the maybe profits, or to minimize the inventory. Because if the company get prepone orders, like what will happen, this company can next they can take some other orders, and they can fulfill the gap by manufacturing other projects, so that instead of some 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs profit by executing other project, they may get some extra money. So that's how we can improve the profits by proper planning, by pre-ordering, uh, prepone the some projects. Sometimes in postpone, the customer postpone the project means, so immediately we have to as a company, as an engineer sitting in MRP or PPC, they have to verify, and they have to stop some of the orders already being started, so that they can minimize the inventory carrying cost. So this is here purchaser plays major role. Like, he can immediately take the information from PPC and inform to the buyers, sorry, suppliers, so that suppliers won't deliver other materials which is already postponed by supplier, sorry, customer. So the so that material will not come into factory until unless we give the acceptance for delivery, so that inventory carrying cost will be minimized. Then MRP processing. The gross requirements are total expected demand, scheduled receipts like open orders or scheduled to drive, planned on hand like expected inventory on hand at the beginning of each time period, the net requirements like actual amount needed in each time period, planned order receipts, like quantity expected to be received the beginning of the period offset by lead time. Then planned order releases, like planned amount the order each time period. So these are the some of the MRP controller and MRP material requirement planning information. So here we'll